Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
PD Beats here from Popternative, speaking to Eva Ariel Binder about Dear Edward on Apple TV+. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Of course. Hi.
We're gonna get into Dear Edward because it's an interesting thing when you go and you film a show and finally episodes roll out, you're able to talk about it a little bit more. But the acting, storytelling, did you always know you wanted to do that? Like, when did that officially start for you specifically?
Well, when I was 5 years old, I started doing dance classes and piano lessons. But what actually happened was when I was in preschool, my mom taught the little kids and I little musical theater numbers.
Yep.
And we ended up doing one of those numbers in a cabaret with like Broadway singers and dancers and stuff. And a good family friend of ours brought their son's manager, who was already working in the industry and doing commercials and stuff. And when she saw me, she was like, "Oh my goodness, who is that little girl? What is her name? I love her." And she kept asking for years and years. And so then eventually my mom got me an agent to start doing commercials just to test it out. And I booked like 9 national commercials. So we were like, let's go to the next step. So we went back to that manager and she signed me. And that's actually my manager today.
That's amazing. And it's interesting. It's interesting too, how like acting, like the acting component of things, and then like the singing and like the dancing and everything, it is all storytelling. Did you know, like, did it kind of just happen that you were kind of doing both, or like, did you want to always do both?
Well, my family, we are very artistic people.
Yeah.
My mom was on Broadway. My dad has his own sound company. So I kind of always had a side of two. I had a very steady, it was mom and dad, you know?
That's the perfect way to say it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, that's going to definitely happen. And was there, like, it's interesting too, because you kind of look at like a lot of performances, and I feel like a lot of people, you mentioned like your mom with Broadway, that's really where you learn your craft as like an actor, is the theater, which I find really, really interesting. I feel like people don't realize that sometimes. Like, that's like kind of the first step. You actually like learn how to perform when you're performing in front of an audience. Like, it's interesting to see that. And I do want to ask, because you know, I always get different answers, and I feel like it depends on different experiences. So, like, the audition process for Dear Edward, like, what can you tell me about that specifically? Like, did you audition for the character that you got? Like, is there anything specific you could tell me about that?
Yeah. Well, I did the original audition,
Okay.
which was Shay. And I didn't hear anything for like a month. And then we hosted a Friendsgiving, and it turned out that one of my closest friends actually had a producer session, and another girl from my school had a producer session. So I was a little sad, a little bummed out, but I was very happy and supportive for her. And then like a week later, I got a call back. And then the day of the callback, they were like, "Hey, so we're actually going to have the creatives come in and watch." And I was like, "Oh my goodness. Okay." So I got in the callback, and then Jason was there, and I was like internally freaking out, but it was okay. And we worked on the scenes. He was awesome. And he told me that I hit all the little nuances, and he could see it through the screen, which was awesome. And then a few days later, they called up and were like, "Hey, do you guys think you can come down to Santa Monica to the True Jack Studios later today and just like go meet Jenny and Jason and just talk and stuff?" I was like, so my mom picked me up from school, and we went straight to Santa Monica. And we talked for like an hour and a half, and it was awesome. It went so smooth. They were so nice. They talked about Shay's background, how the commitment of Shay, because she goes from season 1 through the whole storyline.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then a few days after that, we got a test deal. And then a few days after that, I booked it. And we actually caught it on our security camera, which is really funny. But I can't share that because my mom was cursing a lot in it. But it was funny. I was like crying, falling, twirling. It was amazing.
No, it's a really cool thing. I feel like it's funny because it's funny just like picturing that kind of audition story when Jason kind of showed up. You're just like, "Hi, I love Friday Night Lights." Like, let's get into it.
Yeah.
Basically what it was. For people that, like read the original source material and know about it, I mean, this is very emotional. It's one of those shows that the whole thing is emotional. Yeah. Everything is emotional in this. So with that being said, like, how do you prepare for this role and this show? Because it is just nonstop kind of emotions the whole time for this show on Apple TV Plus.
Well,
it's going to be challenging. It's going to be challenging.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be challenging. So Shay, she doesn't have the best relationship with her father in the show, but in life, I have an amazing relationship with my dad. I love him so much. And he loves me. And so I actually, instead of just going to set and, not having the subtitle of my background with my family while doing the scenes, I actually created my background and I journaled about Shay's life, and I journaled about her relationship with her parents and her life at school, and of course her roller derby. And it actually helped a lot. And also, another funny thing, Shay does roller derby. So I had to learn how to do roller derby. I actually was a really bad roller skater when I booked the show. I may have said I was really good, but we'll never know. But not only did I have to learn how to, not only did I have to learn how to actually roller skate, but I had to learn how to run, push, punch, shove, and fall in them too.
Did you have any like roller skating lessons at all?
Yes,
like, when you
actually, I had like 3 lessons with my roller derby coach, Peta, for like 3 weeks. And then after that, I went to New York and I practiced every single day. And one more way I prepared was my emotional preparation. Yes. I use Meisner technique. I use a Meisner technique called emotional preparation.
Okay.
And that's basically when I can create any storyline in my head and live through it truthfully to access emotions easily. So I did a lot of research on different tools to help me find those different emotions. Because, Dear Eber is a very emotional and layered show.
Absolutely.
So
very
just
layered.
To find those much easier, I just did a lot of research on finding different things.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm here.
100%. And you look at all the storytellers that you got to work with on this show, Eva. I mean, it's incredible. Like, I can't even imagine the learning experiences, not even just about acting, but about life, just kind of being on there, being there with everyone. Like, what can you tell me about working with this cast and like those learning experiences that come to mind?
Well, most of my scenes that I do are with Colin O'Brien, who plays Edward.
Yep.
But I did do some scenes with Taylor Schilling, who plays Lacey, Edward's aunt. And oh my goodness, she is incredible. You can't even tell where she stops and Lacey starts.
Yeah. She's
just so grounded and so free and just so amazing. And I like the scenes that I did with her were so fast because it was just it was like a tennis game, just going back and forth and back and forth. But it's like truthfully, it was awesome. Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy. Is it one of those things too where does it feel very quick when you're on set sometimes, or do you have times where you're able to kind of like take it all in, or does that happen after it's out basically?
Well, actually, sometimes when there's like a lot of scenes that we do in the day, it does go quite fast because I'm having fun. I love being on set. I love working. But other times, like there was actually a few times where I would sit down in my little chair and I would just like look around and be like, oh, I took it all in, and I'm just so grateful and honored that I got to be able to work in the show with such amazing crew and cast. It was such an amazing experience, and I can't wait to do it all again. Hopefully.
Is it starting to sink in that it's out, like episodes are rolling out now? Like it's crazy. You play the waiting game a lot, right?
It was kind of like oh my gosh, I booked it. Okay, gotta work on the scenes. Oh my gosh, the scenes, I got the script. Okay. Oh my God, I'm going to New York and I'm doing the scenes the entire time. Okay, now it's time to work. Oh man, we're wrapping. Okay. Oh my goodness, the premiere and it's coming out. So I'm kind of on this little
And they come, like all the announcements come out in stages, I find.
Yeah.
Like the project is announced, then the cast is announced, then there's like first look photos, no trailer, photos, then there's a trailer, release date. It's like all these steps, and it's finally out, which is awesome. Eva, thank you so much for your time. It was great chatting with you.
Of course. It was awesome chatting with you too.
Yeah, so Dear Edward, Apple TV Plus, they're able to check that out. And where can people keep up to date with you? Is it Instagram is the best way to go to keep up to date with everything?
Yes. My name is Eva Ariel Binder on Instagram.
Awesome. Well, this has been Pop Turnitive, youtube.com/PopTurn. For previous episodes, you can of course catch Eva Ariel Binder and Dear Edward on Apple TV Plus. Until next time, this is Eva and Petey Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Pop Turnitive. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Pop Turnitive on YouTube. Be sure to like Pop Turnitive on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.